but I find it worthwhile and rewarding. So.
You touched on this a little bit, but are most flagger jobs, are they mostly like you go and pick up a job individually, or are you working for a company like yours that's then getting hired by, say, a construction crew or the county or a highway department, or are they like a long-term job with DOT or something like that, or is there a mix of things like that?
Yes, it can be a real mix. You know, I think for a long time on the island, we didn't have the traffic flow and there wasn't that much of a need for flaggers. And it's because of the tourism and the growing of our community, we really can't get by without doing really good traffic control. A lot of times, contractors will hire me to certify their business. So if they have a job that doesn't require all of their own manpower, a lot of the guys on the job will have their flagger certification so that at any moment, if they need to, any of them can flag. So if you are already on a crew or want to work for a construction company, you can have your certification and use it while you're working on the job. You have to be certified to be able to flag. Other jobs, a lot of, you know, DOT, absolutely, Opalco, all of their crews are certified so that their men can flag. Sometimes they have a big job and their crews are too small. And so they are using, I actually have a contract with Opalco to provide flaggers on each island. And I'm hoping to grow that, of course. But what I find for traffic control is a lot of companies, because they aren't on the road all the time, they don't hire flaggers themselves. Actually, they don't want to have that other employee on the payroll all the time. So I am actually have connected with some of the contractors, and so they are actually using our company. They know that we're trained, or we're becoming trained. We offer, you know, the signage setup and takedown, and other services as time goes by. So they'll call me, and I will figure out what kind of a job it is, and then I will dispatch the flaggers depending on their experience and what the needs are. It seems to be really a budget thing. They don't want to keep a flagger on payroll if you don't need them all year. So it's really typical to be part-time on-call. Off-island, a lot of people will join the union and they will get called out from the hall. You could work for companies. It really is varied. It really is varied.
Is it pretty seasonal? I mean, it seems like road construction on the islands is pretty seasonal. So I wasn't sure if that's just an impression or if it's generally true.
Yeah, it depending on the type of work we're doing. Now for road construction, definitely seasonal. If you're working for a utility, they will be working through, maybe they're stringing lines through the season or through all of the seasons. It doesn't matter, right? So I used to work all year round. We have a tiny microcosm here. So we don't have as much work as people off island, but the different jobs and different requirements, I used to get to go on storm damage, you know, where we'd be out for 3 or 4 days, just go with a crew while they're, you know, cleaning up the power lines, cutting the trees out. And I would do the flagging even during the nighttime when they were working. I think the opportunities off island are, of course, much bigger, but for here, we can do what we can. And it really, that's why I call it is part-time on call, because it really is limited to what's going on here.
So I think you mentioned a little bit in our conversation, but so if somebody's interested in flagging, is it Since you said it's part-time on call, is it does it feed into other sort of more full-time careers?
Well, that's the part that I really love about flagging. I have to say that flagging is not usually a long-term job. There's a handful of us that will want to do it always. A lot of people will do it and they're like, I can't do this anymore. But what's really cool about flagging is that you're out there, you're getting to hang out with all the different kinds of road construction, different operators, groundmen, linemen, tree trimmers. And I think it really opens up the world of the trades because you have an opportunity. And it's very typical that a flagger will just work for a short period of time, maybe one season, and then they'll say, I think I'd like to go work for that contractor. It's not that I want my employees to leave, but I think it's a great stepping stone for people to see what's going on in the trades. The trades pay well. It's hard work, but it's a really good, if that's the kind of work people want to do, I want to encourage it. And that's part of the flagging, like you're right, that we talked about. It's really important for me for people to be able to see the bigger world in trades, because we are really short on trades, on workers. And so I hope, wouldn't that be cool if people started flagging and they got a really good job, or got to find, they wanted to be a dump truck driver and then they just went and did that. I want to empower people. What's been also really exciting is I have had 2 flaggers that have been working for us, and they have gone off island and flagged. One went to Idaho and she worked there, and another one in Montana, and she had a job before she even left. So, it's exciting. I don't like my good workers to leave, but I get excited for people when they get to grow.
You mentioned the pay a little bit too, and I don't want you to have to talk about your own pay scale, but just in general about the job sort of career-wise.
Yeah, so off island, a lot of times the pay scale is minimum wage. Everybody kind of starts at minimum wage and goes up. If you are working out of the hall, I think the rates are in the 30s, $30 or so an hour. Prevailing wage jobs, anything that is federally or state funded, or grants that fit into that category, flaggers are making right now $43.11 an hour.
So that's for the union jobs?
That's for prevailing wage jobs. That's not union. Depends where the funding comes from.
Okay.
And
I
if
was
it's,
just curious because you mentioned if you were working out of a hall.
yeah, if you're working out of a hall and you're working for the union, I think that they have all of the benefits, which flaggers don't necessarily ever get benefits. But if you're working out of the hall, the unions make sure that you have medical and dental and that you're paid a good wage and you have workers' rights. I'm not saying we don't have workers' rights, but when everybody's on the road, we're the last ones to get a break because we have to be there to protect everybody. And on the union jobs, they will have extra people that can go and give people breaks and things like that. So, the union has their own flavor and make sure that you get a good, solid wage. You get called out, but you do get benefits. You won't make the prevailing wage rates, which are $43.11 an hour right now, but you do make a solid, constant wage. I'd like to start people off here around $18 an hour and then build on that experience because it is part-time on call. I want to keep good workers, and our islanders, I think we really are, I want to help people financially to make money. It takes more than minimum wage to live here. So I'm also an advocate for that. As long as they will hire my company, I want to pay my employees really well, or as best as I can.
Yeah. Since it does seem like it's perhaps more work in the summer, is there are there age limitations for doing it?
Yeah, good. Thank you for asking. You have to be 18. And I think, sometime in the future, I would really like to target, if I need extra crews, because sometimes we'll need like 7 flaggers for those high school kids, or not high school, but the college kids come home and it's a seasonal job and they can get certified and they can make really good money. We want to stay safe and we want to, do all of that. But I think it's a really good summer job for college students.
Yeah, and it seems like a good interim job. I know somebody who did it for a couple of summers and then now has their own business doing something else.
Yeah.
So, thinking about the age, and you mentioned the having to get a sore neck and stuff. Are there sort of other physical requirements like for vision, color blindness, hearing that?
Yes, I would think one of the detriments, the biggest detriment would be hearing. You have to hear beeps, everything going on all the time because you're listening for, sirens and different things that, what I tell people to be realistic and honest, I saw that a 90-year-old man was certified to flag in one of the flagger blurbs I was looking at, and that scares me. They don't have a cutoff date or age, but I'll tell you, I would never put a 90-year-old person out on the road. It is too dangerous.
But there aren't like
No, age restrictions.
regulations on sort of physical.
No, I have, I showed in the first slide, those are some of the things that you have to be able to do. In the class, I go over, we will certify everyone, and you have to get a passing score of 80%. If you have, once you get a certification card, which everybody must have, then it's their responsibility to go get a job. Certain employers, we don't have a mandate on who we can certify, but that doesn't mean that we'll all get a job.
Yeah. Another question that came up at one point was and you mentioned the cones, the weight of the cones, like in terms of lifting ability and.
You have to have a good back.
Yeah.
Because first of all, you're going to be standing sometimes 10 to 12 hours a day. And I'll tell you, even young people hurt your feet. So people who have to stand for that long a period of time typically cannot have back problems because a lot of people just can't stand. It just hurts them too much. And there is heavy lifting. You have to be able to lift up to about 50 pounds. The signs are big and wide. There's a lot of pinching hazards, a lot of, lifting and bending. And I mean, it is very physical. When you see us standing there, that's just a tiny bit of our job. You don't get to see all of the work that we do to prep for the job. So yes, you have to be fit. And we go over that really clearly when I teach the flagger certification. I'm actually certified by the Evergreen Safety Council, and they are regulated by the Department of Transportation, WashDOT. And so when we certify people, I have to follow the format, it has to be really clear. We have to hit all of those points. We need people to understand the difficulties and the challenges of this job.
So I think you mentioned some, but what do you enjoy most about the job?
All of it. I love heavy equipment. I love the smell of the dirt when they're digging it out, or when the tree trimmers are feeding the trees into the
Chipper?
Chipper, yes, thank you. My brain's doing much better, but the chipper, and it smells like Christmas. Um, the guys, they are amazing. And women, of course. I don't want to, detour from that, but uh, because we can do anything. But I typically, there's a lot of men on the cruise here, um, and they're amazing. The work that they do, the people, it's really fun because when you're out on the road consecutively for a few months, the people will come by, and I always try to say good morning and be upbeat. And then some days I'll go out there. I had this experience when we were on Tucker, and I was so tired and just kind of ooh that day. And all of the people that I was saying good morning to were like saying good morning to me. And I was like, oh, and within a short period of time, I got my energy up, and I was able, like, you give it out and you get it back. And I look, and because we're a small community, I love people and I love seeing everybody. So it's probably the people part.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you again for taking the time to come out and tell us about this. Is there anything else you want to add?
Oh, I think what I would like to say to the motoring public more than anything, and I wish that I could give everyone an experience to flag, because once you get on the road, you understand a lot better. Please slow down. Don't be on your phones in the work zone. I can't control what you do, during the day, but when you come up onto the work zone, please put your phone down. Please don't be distracted. Let us have a safe an opportunity for everybody to get through. Slow down, be patient, understand we're doing our best. We're not stopping you on purpose. Um, and if it sounds appealing to you, get a hold of me and I would be happy to talk to you, or even get you in a class to certify you and see if you like flagging.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, and really enjoyed having you here, and thanks again for coming.
Thank you, Mickey.